Hey, this is Jim with Imperial Tools. Thought that I would do a couple of minutes of the updates that we did to the iManifold app that'll be released this weekend. So I got the iManifold hooked up to my air conditioner here at the house, getting ready to turn things on. I wanted to show you a couple of cool things that we did, starting with, first of all, just simply the connection speed. Let me focus that in there for you. So right now I have the iManifold turned on, and I want to show you, we did a little bit of work on making it connect faster. So now when we hit connect to the iManifold, it is connected, and you'll see it right here in just a second. There we go. So the connection speed's improved a little bit over the last. So now we've added a couple cool new features. One is trending, and we'll slide this over here, and you can see you can turn trending on or off. You focus that in again there. I'm going to turn trending on. Oops. Turn it on. And you can see now it comes up to set up the trends. So what we're going to do now is we're going to select what we want to trend. So we've got several different things we can pick from. I'm going to go ahead and we'll start off with low pressure and high pressure, just to trend those two. And down here at the bottom here, we can select the trending rate and the number of points, and whether or not we want to show it on the main screen. So I'm going to show it on the main screen, and then I'm going to hit submit. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to start the trending process. And you can see both graphs are going, our higher and our low pressure graph. I'll focus in on the top one just for a minute so you can see that. And if we go back to iManifold, now what it'll do is it'll show the iManifold and show the trending on the bottom of the display. Okay, so now the system's started up. So we got our gauges going here. We're started. And we're coming down in pressure on the high side and up on the low, down on the low side and up on the high side. And we'll let things just stabilize out for just a minute so you can see what's going on here. Now, this particular graph I have set up to show 30 points of data. And after that 30 points of data is gone, what's going to happen is we're going to start wiping those points off the screen. This is what a trend is. So a trend just shows you the current trend. So it's right now it's set up to trend every 2 seconds and 30 points, and you'll start seeing those wipe off the screen. And as they wipe off the screen, the trends will auto rescale to fit into there a little bit better. So you can see some of those low ones dropping off, and the high and the low side are starting to rescale right there. Alright, so now that the system's settled out, I'm going to go ahead and show you how we're going to profile the system and what we can do also with trending. So up here I'm going to hit Profile, swipe it over, Equipment Profiling, Profile a new system, and we're going to go ahead and get this set up as air conditioning, standard TXV. It is a ultra high efficiency standard evaporator, and our target subcooling here I believe is 17. And we'll go ahead and leave our current one at 10, and I'm going to hit submit. Now, all that we're going to get is we're going to get an outdoor target right now. We don't have an indoor target because I haven't put in anything as far as return air, wet bulb, dry bulb conditions, and I got a target superheat, a target subcooling, and I got a target high pressure. Target type high pressure is driven off the outdoor air temperature, so as that changes, that'll change. And you can see what happened here is when I put in the targets, now I have this band, and this is plus or minus 3 degrees of saturation. So as long as I'm inside the band, my my high pressure is right on the money. Now it's a little bit high on this band, and if we look here, the most likely cause is, I have some dirt on my condenser. It's not filthy here, but it's definitely not spotless by any means. It's been running. It rained all last summer, and I haven't cleaned it yet. But it's better than it's looked in the past. Now, if we wanted to change anything on the trends, we go down here to Options, and what I'm going to look at now, I'm going to take off high and low pressure, so I'm going to shut those two off. We'll go to Superheat and Subcooling, and hit Submit on the bottom. We'll take a look how our Superheat and Subcooling look. Now you can see Superheat and Subcooling are dead on in the center of my targets, exactly where they should be, because I'm at 10.1 and 16.2. On Subcooling, the allowable is plus or minus 3, and that's why it's a narrower band than the superheat, which is plus or minus 5, and those are right where they should be. Now again, this is 30 points of data, and it's doing it every 2 seconds. I can go in and change those options again, and I can make this 90 points of data and hit submit. So let's look at that for just a second. It puts up the last 90 points of data that it recorded, and it holds those in memory. So it actually is recording 90 points all the time. It just depends on what we want to show. In this case, 30 points will do the trick. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to that again. Take it back from 90 to 30 and go ahead and hit submit. And boom, there it is on the graph. Now I'm going to go ahead and get some other stuff measured, put it on the iManifold, and we'll take a look at our final results. So next time we do this, I hope to be showing you guys some wireless probes. Right now, it is what it is, and I'm using my my Fieldpiece SDP2 to make some measurements here. It's a pretty good instrument for humidity measurements and temperature measurements. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to let this thing stabilize out, and I'm going to go ahead and put some information in the iManifold app. So you can see right now we're measuring our what looks like our dew point temperature, wet bulb temperature. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take some measurements now. The iManifold app, I'll go back over here to user inputs for just a minute. And sorry for the jerky camera, I'm just doing this by hand tonight. And we're going to go ahead and close the profiling up. Not the easiest thing in the world sometimes to operate the camera and operate the app. I'm going to go to user inputs, and I'm going to go into airflow across evaporator. Now, one thing you guys will notice here is that we have made a slider now for wet bulb or relative humidity. You can just touch that and you can enter wet bulb temperatures, or you can enter relative humidity, and it'll switch that back and forth. I prefer relative humidity because wet bulb is a calculation, so it's always best to use, in my opinion, to use the relative humidity and dry bulb temperature, because it's gonna be a little bit more precise. So we're gonna go ahead back here, and we're gonna get our information here. So I got to hit parameter on the on this, and we'll hit it again here. Parameter. Okay, that is the dew point. One more time, that's enthalpy. One more time, and that is the return air dry bulb and supply air dry bulb temperature. Try and focus it in for you again there. So we are at 68 and 47.1. So come over to here, return air dry bulb 68 and supply air 47.1. Return air relative humidity, back to the gauge here with parameter, and relative humidity are 49.2 and 83.3. 49.2 and 83.3. And we'll go ahead and put in our airflow, which I'm going to go ahead and get in just a minute off our thermostat, but I think it's around 1079, and I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. We'll double check that. Okay, so now you can see suction pressure is running a smudge high for what we have here for return air, because now what I've got here is 69 degree return air dry bulb, 47 wet bulb, supply air dry bulb, and supply air wet bulb. Alright, so let me go get an airflow off that thermostat upstairs, and we'll come back down and plug that in. Alright, so I'm up here at the stat real quick. I just wanted to verify the airflow. And you can see my blower CFM is 1078, so that's correct. We'll go back down and we'll put everything into the app, and we'll do some more testing. Alright, so right now we're trending. Just a couple things to note. Okay, I've profiled the system. I've got it set up exactly what we should have for the 16 to 18 SEER 410A system. You'll notice that the indicator shows my suction pressure is right on target, my liquid pressure is right on target, my superheat's in the center, my subcooling's in the center. This is the way everything should be. I don't have a discharge line temperature clamp, so there's nothing showing right there right now. And my trending is working across the bottom exactly the way it would. Okay, exactly what we'd expect to see here. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you, give you an idea of what the trending can do. I'm going to throw the panel, we've got the air conditioning panel here, on top of my condenser. And Oh, I think the leaves don't like that in there. So now I can start to see our subcooling is changing there. Let's go over to our pressures and see how our pressures are trending, because that'll probably be a little bit more dramatic. Low pressure, oops. You can only have 2 selected, so you got to shut 2 off and turn 2 on. We'll hit submit. There, what's happening is my high pressure is shooting up like crazy, my low pressure is remaining constant. This is because the TXV, its job is to maintain constant superheat, and so the driving conditions are simply the low side load or the return air conditions. It doesn't get affected by the outdoor air temperature. You can see when we block off the high side, even though this is climbing from, we're up to 379 now, and our target going back to 281, you can see that it's not affecting the low side pressure. If we go to superheat real quick and see how that's trending, and this is the cool thing with the trends, we can take a look at each side of the system. We'll hit submit here again. And we can see that my superheat did not get impacted at all. My subcooling got driven up because it's obviously thinking that the high side pressure is a lot higher than it is, and it's, you know, we're artificially messing with the system. Now another neat thing here is I can go over here and just hit close that profiling up and just view trends full screen, and now you can see I can view them full screen. I can turn this sideways and it'll take advantage of the landscape mode of the display. But some pretty cool stuff here. Go back to options again one more time. We'll take let's look at high and low pressure again, just for the fun of it, and we will hit submit. See that high pressure's there? It's way up. Go ahead and pull that panel off. Set that back down again, and you can see, sorry about the jerkiness there, you can see that is coming right back down. Now you can see there's no blue band also, and there's no blue band because it has not come into range yet. We're coming back into range. Get that leaf out of there. We're going to come right back in and start trending in where our pressure should be. And once that gets out of the screen, which is a few points away still, we'll let it run for a minute, it's going to go right back in, auto rescale the graph, showing you that it's back into range. Now what this is cool is you can take a screenshot before and after, and you would see, first of all, when I started, it was outside of the target, and after I fixed the problem, the pressures dropped back down and went inside the range, and I could just do another screenshot of this again with the with the camera feature of the app, and it'll fall right into range. So we're just about the end of the target here. We got looks like 4 or 5 points, and it'll start to rescale that graph automatically. And these are time stamped and all set up, so you can see it's rescaling, making that bar a little bit bigger, and each time it'll go back into place. So what it's doing is just making it a little easier to view. And now this will rescale as it's coming back into play. And this is again based off plus or minus 3 degrees in saturation temperature. And you can see that everything's coming back into play and doing what it's supposed to do. We'll check out the superheat and the subcooling. Those are right in line now with what they should be. And that's a little bit of what trending does. And hope you got a little bit out of this. But one of the coolest features I think we have on the iManifold to date, and I think you'll get a lot out of it, and really enjoy this feature, because for me it not only gives you a chance to see if things are stable, see if they're doing what they're supposed to do, but it's also very much a great teaching tool. And I don't care how many years you have in the industry, I've got a lot of years in, and just looking at the relationships and watching what happens has helped me understand better what my air conditioning system is really doing. So this is Jim Bergman for Imperial Tools. Thanks a lot for watching.